Hello, giggly fans. I am back, ready to work on a project with y'all today. This one is going to be super simple. I have recently been inspired to return to my 90s teenage self. So here we go. We are going to do a seed bead bracelet, and I don't know if you want to consider this one to be a beachy color scheme or if you want to consider it to be a Native American color scheme, but either way, it's a beautiful little color scheme and we're gonna roll with it. So for this project, we are going to use 11-0 Miyuki Delicas, and I will go through the colors I used, but feel free to change up the colors. Use whatever colors you have on hand or whatever color pattern you decide you want to go with. But I'm going to show you exactly what I am doing and the colors I used. So the first ones I'm using are going to be 11-0 Turquoise Green Opaque Miyuki Delicas. And fair warning, these are tiny. We're going to be using matte cream, opaque yellow, canary yellow, opaque, what are these ones? Kumquat. Ooh, that's an interesting color, huh? Kumquat. And barnyard red. Barn red, not barnyard. A flat black opaque. And the last color we're using, we're going right back to the opaque turquoise. We're also using soft flex today, and I'm using the size medium because I'm going to make an anklet. And so I want it to be something really durable, but not too stiff. If you go into a heavy soft flex, it's going to tend to be a little bit stiffer, and I want something with a little more give. And you can use a fine if you want, because you're going to have a little bit more of a free-flowing bracelet, but I'm going to use the medium today. I'm also using, that's not going to work. I'm using two wire guards. I'm using a 10x6 millimeter lobster claw. I'm using two, I think those are 3 millimeter. They could be 2 millimeter because they're really tiny. What are those? Those are crimp covers, and I'm using them in an antique brass color. I did not have an antique brass lobster claw, but that's all right. It's going around my ankle. I'm not going to see it. I also have two 2 millimeter crimp tubes, and I have two 5 millimeter, what are those? Those are jump rings. Okay, so let's jump right in here. And our color scheme is going to start with the turquoise. That's my pup, Harley, growling in the background. He doesn't like my cat so much. So the cats live outside, and if it doesn't live in the house with Harley, he doesn't like it. So seeing as how I already know how many beads I need to make the size anklet I need, I'm just going to roll with it here. So I have 6, 7 to start off with. And I am working off my spool. Why do I do that? So I only have to pay attention to this one end here to make sure that the beads don't fall off that one end. And we're going to repeat this pattern 8 times. So starting off with our white, going to our light yellow, our dark yellow, orange, red, black, turquoise, black. We're just going to go backwards in our pattern now. So red, orange, did I mention these are tiny? Dark yellow, light yellow, and white. There you go. Now I'm going to do 11 of the turquoise. And I'm going to repeat the pattern again. So one white, light yellow, dark yellow, orange, red, black, turquoise. And now work backwards. Again with the black, red, orange, dark yellow, light yellow, white, okay, and 11 turquoise. Okay, that's 2 repetitions. Again, we're going to do it 8 times for an anklet. Feel free to adjust your size if you're going to do it for a bracelet or for a necklace. Also make a very pretty pattern for a necklace. White, yellow, dark yellow, orange, red, black, maybe the holes are harder to see, and turquoise. Working backwards. Always check your pattern before you move on to the next color, because we are all human, right? Sometimes we miscount. And back to my turquoise. We're going to do 11 again. that's 3 repeats. Four repeats. I don't know about y'all, but back in 1990 something, friendship pens and friendship bracelets and seed bead everything was the style. That is what we wore. So why not bring it back? It's a classic style. It doesn't get old, at least in my opinion, because I mean, I'm a perpetual teenager. I don't want to grow up. 5, 9, 10, 11. If you don't have Miyuki delicas or you can't find them, you can also use seed beads. And I would say to use, let's see, they run in different sizes for seed beads. So I would say you should probably stick with a size 8 or smaller, like an 8 or a 15 if you want to get a real delicate look. I don't like large seed beads. I don't like large any beads, really. That's just my particular style. But you do you. If you want to do them bigger, feel free to do that. So this was 4 repeats. Let's move on to number 5. Actually, I do think there is an 11-0 in a regular seed bead. I really like the Miyuki because every single tube is uniform. And let's not forget the fact that it is a tube. I like the tube beads. They just seem really smooth to me, and that's what I like. Again, you do you. Whatever you have on hand or whatever your store sells. And I'm also using a bead mat. It's a foam mat and it's real super squishy, but it really makes things easy when you're working with seed beads because these little buggers like to fly all over the place. And if they fall on your bead mat, they're going to sit still. And it's also easy to do these little piles like this and to just work off the mat rather than hold the bead in your hand because, again, they are itty bitty. These are 11-0. And I believe that will equate to about a millimeter, if that. So, yeah, I like my little bead mat. I do. All right, 11 more turquoise. 5, 10, 11. Let's repeat our pattern. White, light yellow, yellow, orange, red, black, turquoise, going back, black, red, orange, just one please, dark yellow, light yellow, and white. Okay, how many was that? That is 6 repeats. We're going to go to 8, so 2 more times. 11 turquoise, 1 to turn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Double checking myself. That's 5, 10, 11. Okay. White, yellow, yellow, orange, red, black, turquoise, black, red, orange, yellow, yellow, white, and 11 turquoise. See how those beads just stayed there when they fell out of my fingers? That's the beauty of a bead mat. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What? Come on, where'd they go? There they are. Alrighty, so if they'll stay still for me. 6, 7, 8, 9. What? I know I put 11 on there. Let's do that one more time. See, we're human. 5, 10, 11. See, I knew what I did. I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more repeat. Only one, please. One more time in reverse. And since I started mine with 7, we're going to end it with 7. See how easy that was? Now I'm going to pop my crimp tube out. I'm going to put my wire guard on. I always use wire guards when I am using soft flex. Why? Because this wire, though it is extremely durable, especially working with the medium or the heavy, it still over time is going to take a lot of wear and tear, especially on your ankle. And you worked really hard on that, right? So you want your design to stay. So you're going to go up through the bottom of that, go around the ditch, and then back down through. It's going to be an upside down horseshoe. I don't know, whichever way you're looking at it. You could turn it the other way and it'll be a right side up horseshoe. But anyway, moving on. You want that wire to go down in that ditch. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to make those two ends meet. And when you are crimping, as I have told you in a previous video, you are going to make sure, you have to make sure that your two wires stay parallel to one another. You don't want them to crisscross inside this tube, because if they crisscross, you're not going to get a nice tight crimp. And over time, either those wires are going to pull out or they're going to wear against one another. So I kept my nail. Let's get back in the frame here. I kept my nail the whole time in between those two wires. And I knew which one was on the left and which one was on the right. So using my second step in my, what is this, my crimper tool. This one has 3 steps, so you can actually do really big crimps on there at 3-4 millimeters. I'm using a 2 millimeter here, but some people only have this 2-step. So that back one right there, you see there's a little bump. It's a little tooth that comes down. That's going in between my 2 wires. If I did it correctly, I'm going to see 2 separate tubes. So each one of these wires has been captured inside its own part of the tube. If I see a bump in the middle, then I know I screwed up. We are perfectly parallel. That is step 1 when you crimp. Now I'm going to turn this a half a turn, and I'm going to go in my first step on my tool, and I am going to taco it. Some people say a hot dog bun. I say taco. Why? Because I love tacos. I despise hot dogs. So let's give her a crimp and hope we did it right. There we go. We have one perfect crimp, one perfect taco. Great. Now I want tacos. Alrighty. Moving on, I'm going to use my flush cutters now, and I am going to get as close to that crimp tube as possible. And I'm going to give that a cut. And I'm going to use my pliers one more time just to give that an extra squeeze and make sure that that's tight. So this is not crisscrossed. It's a perfect crimp. That sucker is going to hold and it's going to last a long, long time. Let's put our crimp cover on now because I don't like to see that crimp tube. And this can be a little tricky. It's tiny. You might even need to open it up again. Or open it up a little bit more, I should say. It will fit, I swear. That's why we have tools. And when we know that that is all the way inside our crimp cover, we are going to slowly, I repeat, slowly close that crimp cover because this metal does not like to move quickly. And sometimes you'll have to rotate your pliers on it so that you get a nice closure. You're going for a nice round circle there, or at least a nice clean close. There we go. Okay. So what the next step I do before I seal my other edge there, I coil it on my bead mat. Why do I coil it? Because that's going to make sure that those beads have a nice tension between them so that they're not going to be super stiff and rigid. This is a little trade secret here. You don't want that to be too tight. So give yourself about an inch. Snip that off with your flush cutters. Slip your crimp tube on. And go through the bottom of your wire guard. Up around the ditch. If you need more material, then by all means use more than an inch at your end. But I do not like to waste my material. So this is what I get. I get a little struggle. Mostly because I'm doing this on camera too, yo. Okay. And now I'm bringing that through my crimp tube. And now I'm going to tighten everything up. But I'm not going to pull it so tight that I tighten all those beads up, am I? We want a nice tension in there. Go ahead and squeeze those two ends together in your wire guard. And see what I'm doing with my fingernail? I am keeping that in between those beads again. Not beads. I'm not keeping it in between the beads. Geez, Jen. I am keeping it in between my two wires so that I know which one is my left and which one is my right. There we go. I'm happy with that. Grabbing my crimp tool again, going into step 1, which is the one that has the tooth in it. Keeping everybody nice and tight. If I did it right, what am I going to see? 2 parallel wires without a bump. And that's exactly what I see. Once again, turning that a half a turn, going into step 1, giving her a squeeze, and there's my taco. Super secure, not going anywhere. Using my flush cutters, getting as close to that crimp tube as I can without cutting my work. If you don't have crimp covers or you can't find them and it doesn't bother you, then there you go. You're done. But I like to hide my crimp covers or my crimp tubes. I do. I don't want to see them. Giving that an extra squeeze right there just to make sure that that is completely closed. Let's get this crimp cover on. This one was a little more open than the last one, so that went on real easy. And once again, slowly closing that cover. Beautiful. There we go. And my bracelet is nice and flexible. It's not rigid. I don't see any beads out of place when I put it back together. All right, let's actually make it an anklet now. So I'm going to take my jump ring. I'm going to hold up in between 2 tools and watch that I open it to the side. I never open it like a Pac-Man mouth because that makes things very difficult when you are trying to close that jump ring. You are going to bend that jump ring out of place. We do not want that. We want our jump ring, when we close it, to be perfectly in line with itself. So, let's close it. And look what I'm doing with my one hand. As I close it, I'm wiggling it back and forth. That work hardens your wire. And work hardening makes that jump ring a little bit stronger, so you're less likely to pull it open. Repeating on the other side. And this time we're going to add our clasp to it. Once again, opening to the side. Put that through your wire guard. And then add that lobster claw. There you go. Now close her up. Do you hear that little snap? when you hear that little snap, you know that that's locked into place. It's another little trick. And we are done. Simple, quick little project. It'll go a lot faster when you're not doing a video of it and going slow. Isn't that beautiful? For another extra little embellishment, you could always do a little charm. On there, you could do a little charm halfway over here. But I like mine simple. I'm just going to keep it real, yo. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you had fun. I know I did. And if you choose to make this project today, I would absolutely love to see your work. So please feel free to leave a little photo in the comments. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel as well, so head on over to the Giggly Gypsy on YouTube. And please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day or your night.